My Lords, as we are now, I see I've got an extra minute, so I might take it just to welcome the Lord Nanjaraju to his place, and from one technology geek and computer enthusiast to another, I welcome him to this house and congratulate him on a wonderful maiden speech. Now, my Lords, last month the government published the Land Use Framework, and seldom has such a long-awaited report been found to be out of date on the date of its publication. With all the intellectual depth of a sixth form geography project, it fails to recognise that Britain and any society is no more than 3 meals away from anarchy, and a government that forgets that deserves everything that's coming to it. Now, this is a debate about clean energy and the rural economy, and I declare my interest involved in farming and fertilisers, but I was struck that the framework outsources much of the future land use policy in this nation, not just to civil servants or to DEFRA or any other part of government for that matter, but to the Green Finance Institute and the Worldwide Fund for Nature, who are name-checked. Now, my Lords, the Green Finance Institute is recorded by the Electoral Commission as being a substantial donor to the Secretary of State for DESNZ, and in an astonishing twist, not only Companies House says that both the Institute and the WWF share co-directors in that same web of institute companies. So we see for the first time that Labour's donors have written and will control rural policy in this nation through the land use framework. The donors have ensured that rural policy has been bent and twisted, those with an axe to grind, tainted by ideology and class hatred, viewed through that lens of wishful thinking and ignorant of the reality of what it takes to feed us. So I sound the alarm today in this debate because there is one table in the framework driven by net zero 2030 ideology that should strike fear into anyone who is concerned for our food security, our rural economy, and the resilience of our society, because Labour's lobbyists have managed to insert into the report that fully 1.7 million hectares of productive land will be entirely removed from agriculture and then have additional controls on hunting, shooting, activities which help our rural country pubs survive the winter. The library tells me that DEFRA estimates that the total area of farmed land in England is 8.9 million hectares, so 1.7 million is just shy of 20% of all the land farmed in England. The report breezily asserts that there's enough to go round, land to go round to feed ourselves. My Lords, that simply cannot be true. So let's see what it means for the rural economy, the sort of analysis the framework should have done but did not. Now, a farmer would hope that his farm would yield, say, 10 tonnes a hectare of wheat. With increased food price inflation barrelling down the tracks, it might generate gross sales of, say, £2,000 a hectare. So your 1,000-hectare farm would generate 2 million in sales. Let's hold that number. Against that income, he might pay a neighbour for seed, a local merchant for fertiliser, there'll be some crop protection project, his farm machinery will be serviced by a local dealer, the sheds and grain storage needs repairs, there's vermin contractors, builders, fitters, fencers, ditch diggers, plant hire suppliers, and any number of ancillary businesses like timber, builders, merchants, and so forth. In total, he will pay 1.8 million on local suppliers, including to that boiler repairman, who he keeps going in the summer, so it's available for the villagers in the winter. And all these people buy meals in the pub or support the local post office stores. My Lords, that is the rural economy Labour is destroying. Now, that's one farmer of 1,000 hectares. But the government wants to remove 1.7 million hectares from production. That's what the land use framework says. The net zero ideology, by my reckoning, will cost us 15% of all our national cereal production, the grains that bake our daily bread, brew our beer, create our cakes. Government tells us that in 2022, agriculture's contribution to the UK economy was 13.9 billion. Based on my simple arithmetic, 1.7 million hectares removed on the altar of net zero is £3.5 billion taken from the rural economy every year. These are round numbers, but it's between 20 and 25% of agriculture's total GDP. These zealots will not rest until our best land is given up for solar. That generates no rural income at all. So there'll be no need for the little doers whatsoever. Solar only enriches the private equity backers and the sovereign wealth funds. So I thank my noble friend for allowing me to enumerate so clearly the economic effects on Labour's war on the countryside, the economic damage that is to be visited on our rural community. Their jobs Our social fabric is being destroyed by Labour's paymasters who deny the harsh reality of putting food in our belly, without which a nation can neither thrive nor survive.